What's going on, everyone? Behind me is a 1963 Ford Falcon. Promised you guys a video on it. It's taking me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but hey, I'm doing it now, so better late than never. So you can probably tell this thing's a little bit removed from factory. Things have been done to it. It is a Pro Street setup, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about the specifics. I'll do a walk around, then as I'm doing the walk around, I'll kind of tell you guys the story as we go along. At least that's my plan. It could change, who knows. But under the hood of this beast is a 427 Smeding motor. I have the dyno charts on it, and it dynoed 570 horsepower, 570 pound-feet of torque, which may not sound like a lot, but this car is really only about 2,500 pounds. They're very lightweight. There's not a lot to it. So the power to weight ratio is pretty good. It's got a C6 transmission, if I remember correctly, built rear end, coilovers, and it's a really nice build. Probably not the color I would choose, but it is a cool color. It shows very well in person, and as you're going to see as we walk around it, I'll show you under the hood and show you around it. It is a very nice build. So yeah, let's walk around it, and I'll kind of tell you the story of the car, and then we'll take it for a drive. So let's start with the beautiful part, that engine bay. As you can see, very well done. Willwood brakes. It's got discs up front, drums in the rear. No power steering, no air conditioning, nothing to rob anything from the power. It's just very basic, but really a beautiful engine bay. So going around this way, this is a really nicely built car, and the story is, as I walk around it, actually, you know what, I'll tell you the story after we get around it, because I want to show you the interior. Let's see. Everything's very nice, aftermarket gauges. It does have a cage in it. Just very well built. Come back here. Paint is in really good shape. You know, really, there's just not a lot of flaws to this car. I don't know how old the build is. I don't know a lot as far as that goes. I do have a lot of paperwork on it and everything like that, but yeah, really cool vehicle. And you know, just really quick, that's a 1933, 1963, so 30 years. That's what 30 years does right there. Okay, so like I told you guys, there is a little story behind this car, and a couple of years ago I had seen this car for sale. I think it was up around the Sacramento area, and what I do is if I see a car that I'm interested in, or I just want to keep tabs on or what have you, I just save the link to my phone. That way I can go back to it anytime, and I had saved the link on this one, and I kept watching it, and it was for sale for a while. Kept thinking, you know, I kind of like to go check it out. It's something that would interest me, and it just looked like a very well built car. I hadn't checked it for a few days, and this was back when we were doing our Cars and Coffee in the actual city of Turlock, and we had a Cars and Coffee that Sunday. We were wrapping everything up, and I was actually pulling out. I was like leading the pack. I think maybe Fred, Melanie, and Wade was with us, and Eddie was in a vehicle. My wife was in her bus, and so we're all kind of pulling out, and I see this vehicle pull in. I'm thinking, well, that's kind of weird. I know there's not another one like it. It's very unique. So I pull over to the guy and we start talking. I said, you know, did you just pick this thing up? He's like, yeah, I picked it up the day before. And so, okay, that's kind of cool. You know, I told him I had been watching the car. I saw it was for sale and everything like that. Thought it looked like a nice build. So I said, hey, why don't you follow us back to my house? Cars and Coffee here is over, but come on back to my house. You can see my cars. We can hang out for a little while. And he did, and we became friends. And so lo and behold, 2 years later, things have changed for him. He's got a baby, he's got other responsibilities, doesn't drive the car, and he put it up for sale. And it had been up for sale for a little while, and so finally I just hit him up once I realized that, you know, we weren't going to be moving as soon as I thought we were going to be moving. And it's like, okay, I'm going to pick up a few more vehicles, as I have. This is one of the vehicles I wanted to pick up, so I made him an offer. He took it, brought it over to me, and basically the rest is history. I probably had the car at least over a month, maybe a month and a half now, 2 months or something like that. So it has taken me a little while to do the video on it. It's a fun car. I've got to say, out of all the Pro Street vehicles that I've owned, I think I like this one the best. It rides stiff. It's very stiff. It has like no travel on it. And one of the things I would like to do is maybe get the back end up just a little bit farther, give it a little bit of a rake, because I like that rake, that look. So I want to look into that. I want to get it over to Jesse's and maybe put some taller coilovers on it. I think that might give it a little bit more spring travel, which I think might be good, because this thing really has a rough time hooking up with these tires and the way it's set up, and as rigid as it is. I mean, 40, 45 miles an hour, if you stand on it, it'll put the back end sideways if you're not careful. So I'm thinking that maybe if I have a little bit more give, a little bit more sag, the car will squat a little bit better and it'll hook up a little bit better and go. But it's a fun car, it's a fast car, it's a nice car to drive. So as a matter of fact, I'm gonna hook the camera up in there and we'll just go ahead and take it for a little spin. You guys can see what I mean. This car has a very loud fuel pump. I don't know the specs on it, but it's not very loud on exhaust. It's got a full exhaust system on it, so it's not that loud. Probably be cool to do like some cutouts and be able to bypass every now and then, but you know, it's got a nice rumble. You hear it coming, but it's just not crazy aggressive. I did mention stiff ride, and it is a very stiff ride, especially on these wonderful roads that we have out here where I live. So like I said, yes, that's something I would like to do. Other than that, there's nothing I want to do to this car. It's set up nice, it drives nice, it rides nice. Bear in mind, I've only taken this thing around the block maybe a couple of times. Haven't really went any distance with it. I'm not sure what the gears on the rear end are. I've got to guess like maybe somewhere in that like 389, 410 gears, somewhere in that area. So I mean, we're doing like 45 right now, tacking 2,500 RPM, so it's got to be like a 410. Not a great freeway cruiser, but my buddy Daniel that had it before, he drove it home, drove it down the freeway from Sacramento or that area, and I mean, he made it. Probably took some time, but he made it. One thing about this car that is different from my other Pro Street cars, my other Pro Street cars, all of them were kind of wallowy, like with those big rear tires. And this one isn't. It tracks very nicely, very straight, very true. Like I said, get a little bit more suspension to get the ride in there, where it's got a little bit of something, and it'd be nice. But right now, it's really got no travel, no give to it. Open road here. Let me get into it just a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't watching the speedometer, and I was definitely spinning and pedaling, but it goes. It's enough to keep you awake. And it's got a really cool sound. It's different than anything I've had before. I don't know how to explain that, but I hear it, and it's like, you know, you got a muscle car. I know when Daniel brought it over to me, I'm like, okay, I know it's coming, but it's just got a different tone than anything that I've had before that I'm used to. So let's put it back in its spot, and then we will wrap up this video. So there it is. Yeah, I like this car. I actually have a couple of buddies that want this car, that are interested. I've been offered a trade so far, which wasn't a bad trade at all. And then another buddy is like, hey, before you get rid of it, let me know, give me first dibs. So I pretty much think I'm into it right where I can get my money back, maybe make a little bit, which would be great. I don't know, I don't want to sell it. And I know I say this about all the vehicles, and you know, some I do, some I don't. This one, I like it. I think it's just so well built and it's so unique and so different and so much fun that I kind of want to keep it. Now, whether or not it'll go back to Tennessee, I don't know. That's still at least a couple years away, maybe more. So by then I might have changed my mind or just may not want to do the shipping part of it. But for right now, I just kind of want to enjoy it. Like I said, I want to get that back end up just a little bit more, get a little bit more ride to it, maybe get it to hook a little bit better. 'Cause, I mean, you guys could hear like second gear was just spinning all the way through and I finally had to back off of it. You know, I mean, it is what it is. That's cool, but if this thing could really hook up and go, it would do well. I would assume it would probably be a good, like a low 11s, high 10s with the right driver, the right tires, good track, that type of thing. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm working to try to get videos done here. I know I'm kind of lagging. I have been lagging. It's just so much stuff going on, and I need to do the video on the 70 Nova that I was talking about that I just picked up. It's still over at the workshop. Things have kind of, Eddie's gotten behind. He's had a lot going on. He really has had a lot going on, and I feel for the guy. He's just, God bless him, he's plugging away, and I've got so many projects and they just kind of keep adding up over here. So we'll get it. It just might take a little bit longer than I anticipated. So we're still going to work on the Harley Davidson. It's sitting out there, if you guys didn't notice. So we're still going to do some stuff there and do those mods there. And I talked about the 33. I want to do a video on it. It doesn't have like brake lights or turn signals right now, which is not too big of a deal. Can still drive it, but I want to get those fixed. So it's all coming. It's all happening very soon. And there's Eddie right there. He hasn't been on camera in a long time.
How's it going?
I was just telling him that you've had a lot going on lately.
Oh man.
So.
Last night, longest I've slept in a long time.
Oh, yeah, long story. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the video. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. P.O. Box, Instagram in the description below. Guys, God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.